I've come to the oh-so-sudden realization that in regards to content creating here on YouTube, it is damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now, I am self-aware. I know that the topics I tend to gravitate towards sometimes rub people the wrong way. Especially with new creators, people are either just gonna love you or hate on you, criticizing you for even trying. But I just want to say, I have no intention of rage baiting. What I say are my genuine opinions, and I showcase the person I want to be perceived as. If my goal was just to clickbait to get as many views as possible, I would not be addressing TV shows from 20 years ago. I'd be having controversial opinions on hot topics to, rack up views. But alas, we are all subjects to our different opinions and such. I would love to hear yours in the comment section below, as always. In many ways, the show 6 Feet Under changed my life, I would say for the better, making me not only more appreciative but cautious of the time I get to spend with my loved ones. Time, of course, being infinite, but our lives not. It truly is a beauty just to be alive. Now, quite a while ago, I had posted a poll to YouTube asking which video you would want to see from me. Despite the mass majority of you requesting to see my opinions on Wesley kidnapping Connor in Season 3 of Angel, that video will take quite a bit longer to script than this one, so I'm gonna release this one first. I had taken a several-month break to focus on not only school but working on my own personal projects such as my comic series, which will be coming out soon, so thank you for your patience as well. Russell is my favorite character within the entirety of this series. Being not only extremely relatable, similarly to how Sid is from Skins, but they also remind me so much of a close friend of mine, it's kinda crazy. And I'd be willing to bet whoever is watching this video probably has someone within their own life that is very similar to either Claire or Russell. An overly opinionated art student that always seems to be in a perpetual pitfall, in one way or another showcasing their angst or spiraling out emotionally. Truly my favorite type of individuals. In this video we will be addressing what truly pushed Russell over the edge, the assault within the narrative that was never taken seriously nor further addressed. And while doing so, we will discuss how society as a whole treats male victims, oftentimes unfortunately shaming them into silence. Then in turn providing no space or outlet for these victims to find solace or answers. When I had originally written this script, I had just finished watching 6 Feet Under, and to be completely honest, I truly believe it'll end up being a show I return to later in life to possibly gain a different perspective. Being young myself, a little bit closer to Claire's age, a lot of these topics covered I have yet to experience myself. And as I proceed through life, I have no doubt that the show will grow increasingly more relatable as time goes on. The characters felt real and raw, crafted with the utmost of care. This will be a series I plan on returning to multiple times on this channel, since there is just so much to talk about, from David's arc in Season 4 and the way the show handles the depiction of PTSD, to Billy's character as a whole and dissecting the impact his parents and their lifestyle truly had on him. That being said, there is a major plotline within Season 3 I just can't seem to get my mind off of, involving abuse of power and hierarchy, depicting the handling of male SA. Today we are going to be addressing what happened between Russell and his teacher, Olivier. Russell is a character Claire Fisher meets at her first year of college, a fellow art student whom at first seemingly has a similar air for life as Claire, one of the main characters of this show and the youngest of the Fisher family. The two stand together at first as friends, then later lovers, walking the same path united. Through art class, the two growing closer and inevitably getting together after multiple bumps in the road. It is established prior to their relationship, however, that Russell has a problem with women mistaking him for being gay.
I'm not gay, you know.
What?
I'm not gay.
Who said anything about you being gay?
Well, you thought I was. Most people think I am, but I'm not.
Okay.
And I don't even know what it is, and guys hit on me like all the fucking time.
Making it adamantly clear to Claire that he was straight, clearly uncomfortable with the prospects. There is a clear indication of an internalized homophobia built inside of Russell. This conversation taking place Season 3, Episode 4. Their relationship elevated their art, pushing them both to strive for greater, almost in a soft competition of sorts.
Who's this other guy?
Oliver something.
Olivier Castor Stahl. He's supposed to be awesome.
Really? Because I heard he was kind of on his own trip.
Their art professor, Olivier Castro Stahl, is an abrasive, blatantly unsuccessful artist living vicariously through his students. As one continues to watch the show, he is later known to play mind games with those seeking his guidance, ultimately to weaken their defenses and make them easier to take advantage of. Being in a teaching position at an esteemed art school that's extremely selective, teaching first-year students, he holds an enormous amount of power over the molding of these young minds. Freshly out of high school with their heads in the clouds, hoping for the best, just striving for success, to be seen as an artist to truly earn the title.
It's so weird.
What?
I mean, every single person at our school thinks they're gonna be successful, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't even be doing this.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is success? Is it just money or fame? Or is it like the critics loving you? Or is it you knowing that you've done good work? Or what?
Olivier is their first pipeline to that world, their first connection to who they want to be. A role model. He provides opportunities to both Claire and Russell, inviting them to different art-related discussions and exhibits, as seen in episode 3 and 4.
Scott, I'd like you to meet Claire Fisher and Russell Corman, two very promising first years.
Oh. It's a real honor to meet you, sir.
Totally.
Do yourselves a favor and give up now. Unless, of course, you're willing to live as outlaws, because this is a culture where art is not only a dirty word, it's a fucking crime.
As Russell is rewarded with praise, Olivier tells Claire they need to talk, which then immediately spirals her out, worried for criticism. The tension and rift that is being built between Russell and Claire, I believe, is entirely calculated and part of Olivier's greater plan. As the unit progresses, both Claire and Russell start to get more competitive, at each other's throats. So when Olivier offers Claire a position as his helper, she immediately agrees, believing this will be the opportunity she needs for her art. Just to later come to the conclusion that he desired an assistant, not so much a helper as she originally idealized. Reluctantly, Claire still ends up agreeing.
You need an assistant to shop?
I need an assistant to drive me. My license was taken away by a jackbooted fascist. I don't know why I'm always persecuted, but it's always been so.
In the art world especially, everyone feels as though they have a shelf life, a limited amount of time where you're still young and novel, where your capabilities are still impressive due to your lack of age and experience, wherein success is easier obtained younger.
Oh my god. What, he was only 20 when he made this? That means we have like a year to produce something this good.
Olivier pits Claire and Russell against each other. 1 second praised, then the next second critiqued. Russell is oftentimes shorted, or put on the back burner despite his good, hard, earnest work, whereas things seemingly come easier to Claire naturally. This dynamic builds Russell up to desire, need, and crave praise and acknowledgement, approval from Olivier.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. You're not gonna believe this. Olivia just asked me to be his assistant and I start tomorrow.
I don't believe this.
God, I feel like I just won something. I never win anything.
Me neither.
There is an awkward air and rift created between Russell and Claire, as Olivier has been slightly flirting with both of them. Russell in particular really despises the way Claire is being both toyed and flirted with, being in a middle mood phase between potential and a relationship with her at this time. At moments, Olivier lifts Claire up, loving her work and her image, just to purposefully overshadow Russell, then flipping and playing the opposite game the next day, praising the other. There's an overwhelming lack of personal boundaries between Olivier and his students, being extremely too open about his own sex life and way too interested in theirs. It reeks of unprofessionalism.
Second, all Olivier says all day long is, look at Russell's work, people. Russell's work is pulsating. It's making me hard.
Your teacher says that?
Yeah, but it's not like harassment. It's more like a comment on harassment.
Something that in current day time would get you cancelled, but back then might have just gotten swept under the rug. And I am appreciative that the show at times does depict this behavior as grimy and gross, 'Cause it is. It just is. Sorry, not me getting heated while making the video. Anyway. I want to quickly focus on this conversation had between Olivier and Claire before getting into this next section, and what it is that Olivier is truly trying to tell Claire.
I had just had my first real success and all eyes were on me. What was I going to do next? I was a coward. I focused on another person. I could have been great. So can you. If you get lonely, have sex. But if you meet somebody who you think means something to you, you're doomed.
Love at a crucial time of success will ultimately hold you back and be your downfall, essentially reliving all of his old problems within his own adolescence and his previous relationships through his students. In his mind, what he does is to free them, allow them to fully encompass all aspects of life before settling down and halting their art's journey/progression. A sentiment many experience throughout life as they navigate through different partners and who they truly desire to be with. Don't rush into or hold yourself down by a relationship, or else life will be over before you even realize. A heartfelt message typically said with compassion out of worry for the other person. A life lesson a parental figure or authority figure might sit you down and have, on surface level acting as a guiding hand. However, to dig a little deeper, there are so many layers and undertones to this. Out of many things, flawed logic lying at its center. It is extremely common to fear a partner will hold you back from life's success, but it is also just as common for them to not only help you grow, but grow with you. We'll come back to this at the end of the video as I discuss season 4 a bit. Claire is hesitant to start dating Russell due to this exact warning and worry, focusing more on Olivier and her art.
Russell, maybe it's not such a good idea for us to, date.
No, it's so weird that you say that. It's so weird that you say that because I was thinking the same thing. And I didn't want to say it because I thought I'd sound crazy being the one who started this whole thing.
This builds even more resentment between Olivier and Russell, having an obvious unspoken competition for Claire's hand.
I mean, what would you do in Azusa anyhow?
Fuck.
I love her too.
Or in other words, Olivier is messing with him, causing Russell to slow boil, purposefully trying to send him off the edge to deepen the meaning behind Russell's art. Being overly critical of his work, Olivier starts to break down Russell, establishing his power over him.
Who are you people? Don't you guys read? This is elephant art. My head is on backwards. I feel like my head is on backwards.
Yes, we got it.
Everybody makes crap sometimes, but what's with the big need to humiliate me? I mean, I don't do well with this kind of thing. I don't need somebody telling me that I suck.
Ironically, in this bleeding heart of a moment where Russell starts breaking down to Claire about the situation, they hook up, later officially getting together. This right here is the first experience Russell has ever had with intimacy, then expressing to Claire how much she means to him, being vulnerable with her and expressing his own naivety. This dynamic being hinted at for going on a few episodes now.
I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this to you. That was my first time.
Shut up. Oh my God.
I feel really safe with you, Claire.
You are really safe.
So when they show up to class with matching dyed hair, an indication Claire and Russell have grown closer, Olivier goes in way harder on them, teasing them and just generally being, well, as Claire puts it, an asshole. This scene is important as it highlights the ongoing mental struggle Russell is having. Russell's struggle to respect his teacher as he truly does desire to be a good person and to mind his own business. And then Olivier's disdain for the dynamic, hating the position of power his students see him in, confronting them about it to force them out of it, taking advantage of it to further prove his contrived point.
Oh,
So now you're both going through your blue period. Don't get mad at me, Fisher. If Russell has something to say to me, he can say it.
How's my pressure?
Go deeper.
God, why is he suddenly turned into such an asshole?
Just ignore him.
Well, you ignore him too. Okay, it's just hair.
Hey, fuck elephant, termite, whatever. I mean, I already forgot who was the elephant and who was the termite.
It's not that, Olivier. It's just what's the point of trying to humiliate?
I was the elephant.
And why do you even give a shit?
Because you're my teacher and I respect you.
Don't you fucking respect me? I'm an idiot, see? I'm not God. Don't you ever respect anyone except your fucking self. Fucking babies.
All of this builds up to episode 8 entitled Tears, Bones, and Desire. After school, Claire goes to Olivier's with Russell, planning on doing whatever errand Olivier needs her to do, with Russell tagging alongside her. However, Olivier has another idea in mind, telling Claire to go alone and asking Russell for assistance at his house. Alone. They are all on the same page and agree, and then Claire drives off to meet with one of Olivier's former assistants, who discloses to Claire that she was intimate with Olivier whilst being his assistant.
I was his assistant too. Fuck. That was a very creative time.
Oh, I'm not fucking him.
Oh. Is he having a boy year?
When Claire clarifies that she is not sleeping with Olivier, she is then asked if it is a boy year, indicating that not only is this common for Olivier to sleep with his students, but there's a pattern of abuse, taking advantage of those he keeps closest, to the point of it being more of a surprise to his former students that he isn't sleeping with his current assistant than if he were. When Claire returns to Olivier's, Russell is sat by himself silent in a chair. After hearing what she had just been told by his former student, Claire loses respect for Olivier. Partially angry that she's being taken advantage of, she quits her assistant's position. Russell only speaks a single word within the scene, and not only is it quick and winded, but he doesn't wait for Claire rushing out of the room before her. Russell then starts acting more distant, to which Claire then tries to directly ask Russell if Olivier did anything with him. Russell doesn't take this question well and starts shutting down, awkwardly laughing it off.
Did Olivier, make a move on you?
Whoa. What?
Ever since I got back from Azusa, you've been all quiet and weird, and he really likes you.
Did he make a move on you? Because he really likes you too.
No, but he flirts.
Yeah, well, he flirts with everything.
Well, did he?
No, Jesus. We smoked a joint and watched TV. And even if he did make a move, hello, I'm not gay.
Now, I do want to address the fact that it is extremely common for those who have been assaulted to be in heavy denial, outright convincing themselves it never happened or blaming themselves. When I personally was assaulted over 10 years ago, I immediately went into self-blame mode, thinking I was responsible for what happened to me. Russell already wasn't fully sure or comfortable with his sexuality and was insecure about it. To Claire, he denies anything happened, but does mention the hypothetical situation that may have happened, not outright confirming or denying anything as he's still trying to piece together the puzzle within his own head. He tells Claire that he was under the influence, having smoked weed with Olivier whilst at the house waiting. Russell reaffirms his position, stating simply that it wouldn't have happened because he isn't gay, then shuts down the conversation as quickly as he can, agreeing to tell Claire in the future if anything did happen or does. But clearly, there's something horribly wrong. At the art show that happens in episode 9, we learn that Billy also used to be one of Olivier's assistants, whom yet again was also intimate with him, adding to the pattern.
You guys know each other?
Yeah. Olivier visited for a term while I was here.
He was my best student after I cracked him open.
Best student, huh?
I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure I was the only one who was sleeping with him. Yeah, it was a pretty amazing experience for me. I had a lot of static around my sexuality. It was a sex thing, not a gay thing.
Wasn't that sort of a fucked up power dynamic, though?
It's always a fucked up power dynamic in sex.
Adding further to the mind games, Olivier also decides to buy Russell's piece at the art show, which was posted for $500, further getting into Russell's head, toying with him, rubbing what happened between them clearly in his face, holding it over him almost in a silent mockery.
Did you ever find out who bought your piece?
Yep.
Was it your mom?
Wish.
You wish.
It was Olivier.
Wow. That's flattering.
I'm sure it's just some kind of head trip, you know? Yeah, to teach me some kind of weird lesson or something.
What kind of lesson?
Like he owns me. You know, just, his whole power thing.
Well, maybe he just really liked your piece.
Kind of doubt it.
There is an increased anger targeted towards Olivier, a clear sign of regret, now having a clear resentment for the man before him.
I once filled the trunk of my car with all my latest work and then lit the car on fire and let it roll down the streets of Montmartre.
Wow, that's interesting because everything you do is just so fucking fascinating.
Ooh, such vitriol and such rage.
And I truly think there is an argument to be made that after what happened with Olivier, Russell felt an immense amount of guilt, as we see him quite literally go into debt to make Claire happy, providing her with an expensive gift and then later buying her art piece when it didn't sell in the show.
Excuse me. Do you know who bought it?
Fifi Rochdale?
Your old cat's name was Fifi, and I don't know where you got Rochdale. Oh, it's the street. Oh, it's your porn name. Nice.
God, you're fast. I love it.
You're in debt.
Yeah, well, it's a good investment.
Everything becomes too much for Russell. Being in class around Olivier, he has broken down in a similar fashion to how someone would after such trauma, lashing out at those around him and bottling up his own feelings, not allowing even himself to process them.
Well, you tell me something, Olivier. If you know so much about art and life, how come you ended up being such a pathetic poser who needs people half his age to prop him up and make him feel good about himself?
He could have at least made the effort to slam the door. Young people have absolutely no commitment today.
Not only is this an essay, but this is a male-on-male essay. No matter the orientation of it, shame comes alongside that kind of physical invasion. However, it would be ignorant of me not to address the gender biases and expectations at play. It would simply be irresponsible of me not to address how male essay is undermined and not taken seriously as it should be by many. When Russell finally decides to open up to Claire and discloses to her that something did in fact happen between him and Olivier that day, Russell does say they had sex, not that he was assaulted. But let's look at all of the facts at play. There was an ongoing power dynamic and power struggle, Russell being his student, still naive not only to the world but especially to intimacy as previously established. He was already known to be kind of a suck-up, wanting praise and attention for his work. And he was inebriated, having smoked weed.
Have you ever had sex with a man before?
No, never. I was high. I'm fucking confused. I mean, I had to tell you.
Well, thanks. Fuck you.
Claire.
I don't ever want to see you again.
Claire.
Don't even call me.
Claire.
However, in wake of all of this information, Claire kind of loses her shit and immediately calls it cheating, guilting Russell by saying that he emotionally and physically betrayed her, further adding to his internal confusion. Okay, look, I'm not gonna fault Claire for having a highly volatile reaction. Her emotions in that moment were valid, and she needed time to process what she was thinking and feeling. I believe a large chunk of the anger honestly stemmed from the fact that he lied to her. For victims, it is oftentimes excessively hard to speak up after an assault, not truly having words, not having fully processed the events.
It was a sex thing, not a gay thing.
Wasn't that sort of a fucked up power dynamic, though?
It's always a fucked up power dynamic in sex.
I am so glad that the writers decided to add this one-off line, as it quite literally confirms the writers recognized the predatory behavior, and in turn, this moment so does Claire. stating herself that Olivier is taking advantage of his students. However, after Claire separated herself and was given a bit of time to think it over, some aspects boiled down purely to homophobia. Something I've noticed, not only in media but in my everyday life, is how differently bisexual people are treated. Gay subcultures treating them as invalid because they're not fully committing. Some straight subcultures treating it as a phase. Or hell, I've even seen people express it as inherently dirty. Having only hit my 20s in the 20s, I obviously can't talk about how much different this was treated back in the early 2000s, as I simply was not alive. However, living in a Republican state with a bunch of bigoted people, I can make assumptions, purely based off of stuff I've witnessed my friends go through. And the way I've been treated, having my reality denied time after time, being told to simply ignore what happened to me when I was younger, or that there isn't proof it ever happened other than my lived experience. Seeing as though how I and many others never received justice and how common that is, I have no doubt in my mind that that kind of culture and behavior was way more prevalent then, making any kind of justice even more impossible for Russell. And that's not even addressing the fact that technically he is an imperfect victim. As disgusting as it feels to say and consider, many might not even consider this assault, seeing as though both him and Olivier were both intoxicated, painting this as just an experimental phase for Russell. And unfortunately, this is a lot of the time how victims are just shut down or shut up. And that's not even addressing how some people genuinely hold the belief that males cannot be assaulted. Another angle to look at is the fact that Russell himself never came to the conclusion that he was assaulted. Something, speaking yet again from personal experiences, that is excessively common, as when you're living through something, you don't even necessarily, consider what is happening. Well, you'll acknowledge that it's wrong, but you won't acknowledge necessarily what to call it. You feel? Sorry, my cat really wanted attention. I'm gonna give him some pets for y'all. Russell, begging for Claire's forgiveness, crafts a sculpture and then opens up further about what happened between him and Olivier, still being uncomfortable or perhaps even scared to admit what happened in detail.
I just want you to know that what happened between Olivier and me was totally fucked up. You know, what happened between you and me wasn't fucked up at all. It was the opposite of fucked up.
Did he fuck you?
I was drunk and stoned, and he was playing this head trip on me. I mean, you know what he's like.
Would you give each other blowjobs or something?
What is important here is that he clarifies that what happened between him and Olivier was not a good predicament. He reveals that he was also drunk, as well as being high, and on top of that, coerced. Russell, not being an avid smoker, more than likely got higher than intended. He was most likely peer pressuring Russell into the situation. Anyone who smokes knows that there's a capacity for tolerance. If Olivier has some readily available, one could assume this is a recreational hobby he often partakes in. The more one avidly partakes, the lesser the effects over time, giving Olivier the clear advantage or power in the situation further than being his teacher and his elder. That what he had with Claire was loving and genuine and a choice he actually made, without being lured in by substances. And always but outright saying it, Russell tells Claire that he was assaulted. And how does she respond? She lashes back, making gay jokes.
And that's hideous. I don't want it.
Claire.
Maybe you can sell it to your fucking boyfriend for another $500.
Claire.
I'm sure you were worth it.
I don't want to live without you. I can't.
What pains me here is that after opening up about being assaulted, she rejects him, blowing him off and treats him like trash. He loses the person he loves after being taken advantage of. And Claire has now been made his outcry witness. Russell, in this moment, is honestly asking for help, just wanting to figure things out and resolve himself of a guilty conscience. Now, as unfortunate as the way that Claire responded to the situation is, I do have to applaud the show for how realistically it was done. And watching this scene occur between Claire and Russell breaks my heart every single time. They so clearly care for each other, it's just the situation at hand is so messy and confusing. Russell never gets true closure for this, as far as we see in the show having his life fully derailed and continues to spiral even into season 5. Gaining more confidence and comfortability with himself, he explores his sexuality throughout season 4 and 5. However, as is disclosed within the conversation he has with Claire, his last moment on screen, he outright admits that there's an underlying self-hatred at play. Oftentimes, when one's been stripped of their bodily autonomy or has been taken advantage of, it can take years to not only process but heal from the trauma. I wish Claire could have reacted differently. But in the eyes of 2003, the year I was born by the way, the situation was a little bit more cut and dry by society's standards than it is today. In 2003, the storyline was handled as a gay awakening cheating scandal.
I mean, when are you gonna get over your wounded pride for 1 second and realize what we have is too good for you to throw away?
Oh, for me to throw away? That's funny. You're funny.
He was sort of my boyfriend for a while, yeah. And then he went gay.
However, in 2025 to 2026, when I was scripting and recording, it plays out more like an episode of Law & Order SVU. I just want to reiterate and make it clear that this is how I personally am choosing to read the situation, as the narrative itself does not make this 1, clear, nor 2, even acknowledge the possibility that this was an assault.
Give yourself the grade you think you deserve.
What is that, like paying me to keep my mouth shut?
I'm letting every student give themselves their own grade. Who am I to judge anyone's work?
Oh, God, you're ridiculous. You constantly contradict yourself, so nothing you say ever means anything.
Is meaning what you're really after, Claire? Because your work this semester would suggest otherwise. Your technique is excellent, but that's all it is, technique. Your work is safe, limited, because you hold yourself back from life.
Well, call me crazy, but I think an artist has a responsibility to do more than just give in to every emotional impulse. Because some impulses are wrong. And some impulses violate the regulations of this school. I checked. Exactly how many schools have you taught at, Olivier?
Breezing over the topic and allowing the audience to interpret it how they want to. When searching around online to see if anybody else held this belief, I was relieved to see that I was not the only one who came to this conclusion, as I have found many subreddits giving their opinions at length. So this conversation is being had, just in very small circles. So in a way, despite not getting it within the show, the fandom at least is giving him the justice he deserves, hating on and holding Olivier accountable for his actions just as much as Russell and I do.
Good. Because every nasty thing I said to him earlier was the absolute truth. And every flattering thing was a lie.
Well, you didn't say too much that was flattering.
Before wrapping up this video, I want to talk briefly about the potential that Claire and Russell had, not even solely as a couple, but artistically, as a pair. We see Claire's art and creative journey truly peak with Russell and his influence in her life. From being the one who originally supported her buying her piece at the art show, to later helping her take the work more seriously as he inspired her class projects, they, in my humble opinion, just complemented each other so well, and it was really tragic to watch their friendship get torn to absolute shreds. But the bittersweet closure they get in season 5 retrospectively makes it worth it in a blissfully melancholic way.
Hey, I'm sorry, you know. About the collage stuff. I'm taking all that credit. That was part yours.
It's good seeing you, Claire.
Too.
This was Suxi, your grandpa, and thank you for getting this far into the video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below giving your opinions on this topic because I would love to see your takes. Not only do I love debates, I love seeing different perspectives. Being a writer myself, exposure to other people's experiences can only elevate my work, make me a kinder, more considerate person. Now, I have no intention for this channel to just be focusing on media assaults, by any means, which is why I decided to post my last video, even though that kind of flopped if we're being honest here. However, I thought this was a very important and pressing topic. I say pressing as though anybody's really reviewing this show anymore, but either way, it was on my mind, okay? It was on my mind and I needed to talk about it, so thank you for listening. And without further ado, let's end out this video with a simple, see you next time, ta-ta!
To be honest, I prefer to process those emotions through my art.
Oh. But you're okay?
I hope to be. One day. Okay, yes.
Well, good.